You'd expect being digital marketing, I don't have any paper, right? So it's just the way that I operate. There are two truths, as you found out earlier from Jared, right? And I'm really mad at Jared for steering all of my content, damn it. So I asked people, 20 people, what is digital real estate? And I got 20 different answers. Zillow, social media. It was like crazy. Some of them, one of them said search apps on my phone. I didn't even know that people use those real estate apps. So when I looked at it, I said, well, there really weren't any wrong answers, but there's a lot of answers, right? There's a lot of answers, whoops, going back here, with real estate. I don't know why that went forward, but we'll get it backwards here. There we go. And I just want to point out, if you think digital isn't here, you are wrong. There was a release survey last month. Axios said 100% of all buyers engage in some way in the digital space during their transaction. 100%. It's not, oh, she's 90 and she doesn't do that. She's using her iPad and her finger, which Steve Jobs gave us. It's here. It's here today, and it's relevant. Now, I'm pretty digital, and I say, are you digital? What's your presence? What is your digital presence, right? How are you perceived in the marketplace? What are you putting out there? Are you a secret agent? Do you not want to put anything out there? Are you worried that your social security number is going to be hacked? I've heard that excuse. But the thing is that if you don't like making phone calls, then you better put yourself out there some other way. You have to be relevant. For me, the persona I put in the marketplace, the people that are in my tribe, in my group, they see me as Fireman Glenn, 23 years as a fireman, and now a fire chief. They know me as that. They laugh at it, they cry at it, they see the videos of the 7 people that we saved in December. I look at it and say, I have a team of 12 people in 2 states. All of my friends and people know that who are a part of my sphere. I put my team forward, my family forward. I'm a dog foster. I'm a staunch advocate for suicide awareness because I lost 2 sisters to it. People know it. I put it out there. I want them to know it. Why? Because when I walk down my main street and someone stops me and they say, hey, Glenn, and they give you a hug, they saw something that went on. Here's the craziest thing. We know real estate happens. You go away on vacation, all of a sudden you get calls, listings, everything happens at that time, right? Well, I got in my RV, drove off for almost 6 weeks last summer. You know when I got back, I had more business than I had in any other month, and I didn't do 1 ounce of lead generation while I was gone. It was all because of social media. People said, I want to sell my house and do that trip. God, I want to do exactly what you did. So when you say, what is the digital you, what's the digital me? If you're not putting it out there, someone else is. And you know what the thing is? They're going to be known, liked, and trusted more than you. That's what digital brings to people. Now, is it creepy? 2 weeks ago at a dinner, a guy walks up to me, kind of pushes the other 2 chiefs out of the way, gives me a hug. And I was like, I've never talked to this guy in my whole entire life. But what he did was, he thought he knew me because of social media. Genuinely thought he had a relationship with me. And you know what? He did. I put it out there. He did. All right, so now, the digital you. What is digital? I'm going to break it up. It's weird. The slides go forward 3 steps, and then there we go. I break it up into 3 things. Sales, so the front end, right? Front end of the business. The back office, and then customer experience. This is the way that we need to talk in the future, because I could tell you every single large team is hunting for your business, and they're doing this exact stuff. And what they're measuring is things like I measure. So things that I measure, I know that 34.5% of all of our business is sourced from open houses. I know that if I talk to 29 people, I have 1 deal. I know that each and every agent on my team, how many conversations they have, I know how many appointments they're going to make, and I know how many they're going to meet. And then if they don't, I know why, because I can tell that they haven't qualified it right. That is what the wave of the future is going to bring in terms of the digital real estate piece. Now, you ask, how do you know that? Digital, right? Business is math and sales is data. If you walk away and say, I don't care about that stuff, well, business is math and sales is data. That's the way it works. So when I talk about our business, prospecting, this is funny how it goes forward. So prospecting is our business. I tell this to my team all the time. Make no mistake, our entire business around prospecting. Because what happens when you don't prospect? The the real estate roller coaster starts, right? Got a commission now, 6 weeks from now, I don't have my car payment. How do you flatten that? You prospect. Now, I know phone calls work, right? But once you stop making the phone call, are you prospecting? Probably not. You're not making phone calls anymore. You're not prospecting, right? If you have a billboard, nice, awesome billboard, $50 to $500, right? Person drives by, 6 to 8 seconds, they got you. Next billboard comes up, Ritalin room kicks in, they've all of a sudden forgot who you were on that billboard, but you paid $50 to $500 for that, and it goes away, right? Door knocking, I loved it when we first got into business. I would go on the coldest day of the year. The reason why? People invited me in because they felt bad for me. And I did 200 doors a day was my bogey. That was what I wanted every single time. Was it great? Yes. Was it incredibly low volume of lead flow? Terribly low volume of lead flow. Good leads, low volume. So I just said, how do you do it differently? Digital solves all those problems. While I'm sleeping, my videos get played. When the husband and wife are in the bed at opposite sides of the bed, scrolling through their feed, I pop up. Not her husband, right? But I want that. I want that presence constantly going, right? And that's what digital does for you when you run ads, when you target. Jared talked about this sniper rifle, right? Every single listing I have, everyone in that particular neighborhood knows exactly who I am. I target them, I sniper rifle them. It's not a shotgun, here's a boost. I go, I want to talk to that person, and I make it super clear that I do that. That is what digital affords me, so that I don't have to make cold calls. I hate cold calls. I've never made a cold call since I've been in the industry. And I should give some background. I've only been in the industry about 4.5 years. At the 13th month point, I made it to, what is it called? Hall of Fame. So I guess that's over $1 million in gross commission. What I'm telling you are things that actually work. Now, am I saying that the other things don't work? No, not at all. But I'm saying if you have 3 pillars of your business and one of them isn't digital, someone's going to lap you. Like you're going to be lapped by this business, right? So next stop is, how do you ensure, and it didn't go forward that time, that's cool. So how do you ensure that you are actually completing what you said you're going to do? You made a promise at that table when you closed the listing. How do you make sure the whole transaction is predictable and that you're doing all the tasks? You have to have a back office. You have to have things like KV Core. You have to have things like .loop. You have to have things like a transaction management system, not a spreadsheet, a system that sends me a text message that says, Glenn, you're an idiot again. You didn't follow up on this. Right? I need to be driven that because my life is bedlam without those things. So systems like these, digital presence that give you a checklist of things to do every day. You go in and check it out and then you're on your way. This is digital, this is servicing. And then last but not least, this is something I came from the corporate world. My last company sold for $91 million. And when I walked away from that, funny story, my wife said, I'm going to get into real estate. And she goes, why don't you just sell used cars? Right, that was her answer for that. And I said, no, I'm going to change this. We're going to bring professionalism to this. But the thing was, no one talks about customer experience. We all want the customer experience, but how do you define it? My customer experience with all of my customers, I know where it's going to start, and I know where it's going to end. And it actually doesn't end. The transaction ends. But I know it because I mapped it. I tell them how I want it to be, not how they want it to be. Because if they wanted it to be, it would be they forgot to make the deposit, they forgot to do this, they forgot to do that. No, I present them a dashboard. When they get into our environment, they immediately get a dashboard, digital, right? They self-service. You know what that does for the agent who's really busy? You're not fielding phone calls all the time for information that they have in the palm of their hand. You train them to use this tool, right? So when I talk about digital, it's super important to have customer experience. So I know the questions and answers are usually always, what system? How do you do the Facebook ad? How do you do this? How do you do that? And I know that there's a lot of information to get sold. Everyone's selling something in our business, right? How many people have a $50 a month subscription across the board all the time, right? So what I've done, I'm a big Willy Wonka fan. And you remember when Charlie had the golden ticket? The golden ticket has information. So for my next slide, I actually put in there what I call the golden ticket. And that is a website. And the website, I want nothing from you. What I want is all of the people in this room. So I'm so grateful to Remax, right? I came here, my business quadrupled in an instant. And that's the point of why we're all here today, right? We want our business to be better. So in this next slide, I have 2 QR codes. One is on the left, if you want to ask me anything, my full contact information. To the right is a website that tells you every system I use and how I use it. And when you have a question, hit the one on the left and ask me how you can use it. I'm not selling anything. All I know is that if I'm doing a transaction with one of you, I want you to have these systems because I know it, right? And I had, I think, 48 total source leads last year just from inbound. When I said I don't make cold calls, I make warm calls to people that reach out to me on social media. That's where most of the deals come from. But I post a lot because I know the algorithm's not going to present me 10 times to the same person. And I know it because it happens in this room, right? And there's people in the room, like Chopper, Tara over there. I see them all the time in my feed with good video stuff. And that's one thing I didn't talk about was your video content is going to rank 1,000,000 times better than anything static. If you're putting up static, forget it. Go to video. It's the win every single time. Video wins every time. I did almost 10,000 videos last year. Videos win every time. Yeah, and I particularly like apology calls. I call up and apologize for being the bad person that didn't call, or a text that stimulates something. Like I love the you don't call, you don't write, we don't talk anymore text. I love that text. So things like that. But all of it has some kind of, they can't not reply. And remember, these are your family. Call them. Like they're in your client base, right? Call them.